Hello students, I welcome you all back. Let's continue our topic. In the previous class we studied about the sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Today we are going to talk about the sexual reproduction in human beings. So before moving into the reproduction in human beings, we have to understand what are the reproductive parts. So first of all, let's talk about the male reproductive system. So the male reproductive system, it comprises of a pair of testes, okay, and it produces the male reproductive cells is called sperms. From the testes, sperms are produced in which contains the cells, reproductive cells, and the hormone testosterone. And there is also involvement one hormone which is called as the testosterone. It contains a sac-like structures called scrotum. Okay, it contains a sac-like structure called scrotum. From each testis arises a tube called as vas deferens, and it joins into the urethra. So the urethra is enclosed in a muscular organ called a penis, and it has an opening called the genital pore. And the seminal vesicle and prostate glands produce fluids which provide nutrition and help in the movement of the sperms. So you can see in the diagram, okay, so this is the urethra, this is the vas deferens, and this is connected to here, okay, this is the seminal vesicle, this is the prostate gland, okay, and this is the epididymis, and here are the testicles, okay, and this is the structure of the sperm which is produced by the testis, okay, and the sperm contains the head, middle piece and tail, and the head region contains the acrosome which helps in the movement. Tails help in the movement and it helps to make the path, acrosome. Then the next one is the female reproductive system. It comprises of a pair of ovaries which produces the female reproductive cells called the ova or the eggs, and the hormone estrogen. Okay, so the ovaries produces the eggs or the ova along with the hormone estrogen. So above the ovaries are the tubes called the oviducts or the fallopian tubes. Can you see this? These are the ovaries and this is the fallopian tubes. The two oviducts unite into a bag-like structure called as uterus. So these two structures join in the uterus, okay, and the uterus has opening called vagina. Okay, can you see this? This uterus has a opening called as the vagina, and it produces the human ovum, or you can also say the ova, and this is the structure of that. So as you all know, what is the fertilization? Fertilization is the fusion of the male gamete and the female gamete. So let's study how does this happens in human beings. So during the sexual intercourse, or you can say during the sexual activity, the sperm from the male enters into the vagina of the female. So as you know, the male sperms enters into the vagina of the females, and then the sperm reaches to the oviduct. So as you all know, this is the oviduct, okay, this is the oviduct, and one sperm fuses with an egg. Can you see? As the egg is released from this part and it moves here, and the sperm, when it reaches to the vagina, then to the uterus, and then it moves to the oviduct and it fuses with the egg, okay. The zygote, once it is fused, then there is the formation of the zygote. Once the formation of zygote is there, the zygote then starts dividing to form the embryo. So the one cell will start dividing. This is the 2 stage, then 4 cell stage, then 8 cell stage. So this is how the division occurs. Then it continuously keeps on dividing, then forms the blastocyst. Then in the same way, continuous division occurs, and the embryo gets the nutrition from the mother's blood through the placenta, okay, placenta. Through the placenta, the baby gets the nutrition from the mother's blood. The development of the child takes 9 months and then the child is born. Okay, so it will take 9 months to make a child fully developed, and after that the baby is born. So you can see the diagram over here. This is the ova and these are all the sperms. Okay, can you see this? Many sperms comes near the ova, but only one sperm has the ability to fertilize the egg. Can you see over here? Once the sperm gets into the ova, okay, this is how the fertilization process occurs. The stages in the early development of embryo. So how does it happen? First the egg is released and it starts moving to the oviduct, and in the same way, in the same time, the sperm also moves here. Once at this place only, the sperm and the egg fuses together. Then once the fertilization occurs, then the cell keeps on dividing, first 2, then 4, then 8, then blastocyst, and many more. And then all the development occurs in the uterus region. The baby keeps on growing, and once it is fully developed, then it comes out through the cavity of the uterus. Can you see this? This is how the baby comes out. Then what is menstruation? So the first case was when the egg was released from the ovary and it was fused by the sperm. Okay, it was fused by the sperm, then the fertilization occurred and the baby was born. Okay, this was the first case. But there would be the another scenario in which the egg is released. Okay, the egg is released, but there was no sperm. So when there was no sperm, there was no fertilization process. So when there was no fertilization process, there was no baby. So if there is no production of the baby, then what happens to this egg which was released? Okay, so this egg is not at all fertilized, nor even went to the uterus, nor even it developed into a baby. So what happens to this egg when it is not fertilized? So in that case, there is the process involved called as the menstruation. In this, what happens? The ovary produces one egg every month. So as you all know, this structure, this was the structure. Okay, okay. Here is the ovary, and each ovary produces one egg in 1 month. If 1 month the egg is produced from here, then the next month the egg will be produced from here, and every month one egg is produced. So the uterus prepares to receive the fertilized egg. So this is the uterus part. Okay, so the function of the uterus is to prepare itself to get the fertilized egg. But what happens? Now the egg is not getting fertilized because the sperm is not coming, because there is no sexual activity. So what happens? Because the uterus doesn't know if the egg is going to be fertilized or not, so it will keep on making preparation for the fertilized egg. So the walls becomes thick and spongy with blood vessels. So this part is made up of blood vessels and it becomes spongy and thick for nourishing the embryo. Embryo means to nourishing the fertilized egg. But if the fertilization is not taking place, then the uterus wall breaks and comes out of vagina as a blood and mucus, as the baby development is not occurring here. Okay, as there is no development of the baby over here. So what happens? Whatever the walls were becoming thick, it will come out of the vagina in the form of what? Blood and the mucus. So this cycle takes place once every month, is called menstruation. So this process is called as the menstruation process. So this is the menstrual cycle. Okay, so this is the ovary, two ovaries from which the eggs are released. Okay, if the egg is released over here, and the uterus, they will prepare itself by thickening the wall. Why? Because they think when the fertilized egg will come and embed over here, then the development of baby will occur. But because there was no sperm, there was no fertilization. So once their egg is not getting attached over here, as the fertilized egg is not attached over here, so the whole lining will shed down in the form of blood and mucus. So this process is called as the menstrual cycle. So each month, women of the reproductive age who are not pregnant go through a cycle of fertility that results in either pregnancy or menstruation. So what you can say, when their egg is fertilized, okay, when the egg is fertilized, that means the pregnancy will occur. When the egg is not fertilized, then there will be no pregnancy. So what will happen? Instead of pregnancy, menstruation will occur. So the average menstrual cycle is for 28 days and ranges from 24 to 35 days. Okay, so that's it all for today. We'll be meeting up in our next video with our next topic. Bye everyone.